Hi there and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue our LP journey with 1981. I finished off with the live album on our last LP's video. And today we're going to start off with, like I say, sometimes a few stragglers, a few things leading into 1981. And we've got quite a pile for Bella Donna, so we're going to do a couple Stevie Nicks things, but mostly we're going to do the kind of miscellaneous stuff, Lindsey Buckingham, Mick Fleetwood, and then, like I said, we'll lead into Stevie, and Bella Donna will be its own video. So we're going to start off right away with Robbie Patton. Great album. This one is the one that has Distant Shores on it. The song that we like the most, Stevie fans, is Smiling Islands. And Smiling Islands and Distant Shores sometimes get confused. This has, I believe, Christine and Lindsay, no, just Christine and Bob Welch on this album. But part of the real sweet part about it, too, is that, in super relation to it as well, is a really adorable and kind, sweet dedication to Mary Tory, later Mary Tory DeVito down here. Which, as you know, Mary Tory is not only a phenomenal person, but a close friend of Stevie's, and a lot of the pictures that you haven't seen yet, but I'll be showing in my scrapbooks and stuff. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her and being able to talk with her here and there, and she's everything people say about her. So this commentary, though from a different point of view and a different heart, is no less difficult to understand because she's just really sweet. So just really profusely thanking her and talking about what a wonderful, kind person she is. It's just really an endearing little footnote to the Fleetwood Mac family and part of the collection. So there's that album. This album came out in 1981, as I stated, and Christine also produced it. Ken Callier, Robbie Patton, and, like I said, a real sweet thanks to Mary Tory. So there's that. Additionally, we have this one that I think came out a little bit later. I think I'm jumping the gun a bit with this one. This came out in 1982, but they were in the same thing, so we're just going to get it out of the way. This one is Robbie Patton, Orders from Headquarters, and this is the album with Smiling Islands on it, with Stevie Nicks vocals. Christine guests on the song Look Away. Stevie Nicks guests on the song Smiling Islands. And again, we have Larry Vigone as part of the art production. And as well, we have a really sweet thank you and kindness. The album is dedicated to Mary Tory. So again, just so sweet. And here's a great picture of Mary here. This woman has got the most beautiful smile, and it just comes from the heart, and she's just a real sweet person. Great picture, Christine McVie. Another beautiful smile. But Mary, I adore her. And so, yeah. So those are a couple cute things. Again, part of the Fleetwood Mac family, but a little bit more 7 degrees of separation. But it's fun to get Mary mentioned and shown in here every chance that I get. So there are those. So now we're going to go into Lindsey Buckingham's Law and Order. Probably these are out of order from when they were released, who came out first. I want to say when I did the singles, I'm pretty sure that it was Lindsey, Stevie, and then Mick when I did 81, if memory serves me correct, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to start up with Law and Order. This is the American version of the American release. This was the cover, and I had mentioned when I talked about the 45s, this was taken by the artwork photographer George Hurrell. Pardon me, and when I tell people about George Hurrell, I tell them imagine any photo that you can from the 30s or the 40s of somebody like Gina Harlow or Rita Hayworth, or any glamour picture that you can, and chances are that image that comes to your mind was taken by George Hurrell. He just had a wonderful sense of black and white and the play with light, and I had not heard of him, or I'd not realized who he was, and And I was really into old Hollywood when I was younger. Before I really hard got into Fleetwood Mac, Marilyn Monroe was my first, just like most little girls, my first big upset. Actually, no, I'm lying. Wonder Woman for most little girls in the 70s was my first obsession. Linda Carter, and then Marilyn Monroe, but then old Hollywood. And then as I was getting into Fleetwood Mac and realizing, this George Hurrell guy was taking pictures of Fleetwood Mac, it was just, I thought it was just such a great, cool merging of the two. There's this picture as well. And I had mentioned that when he photographed Lindsey Buckingham, he kind of had a young Johnny Weissmuller in mind, who, for you young people, Johnny Weissmuller was pretty much the first Tarzan, the first name to really make Tarzan, pardon me, a known character in our imaginations and such, outside of, the author Doyle, I think, who wrote the books. Getting way sidetracked, but yeah, and there's a slight there's a slight similarity, and it's mostly in the photography, but that's what George Hurrell was capable of. So just seeing it in this nice big photo like this is really cool. Some of the inside artwork, which if you recall on the 45s, you will have seen, but it's also very reminiscent of the Tusk artwork, especially some of these pieces in this piece here. And again, that's the whole Larry Vigone. Again, I sure hope I'm saying that name right. And I think Peter Beard might be part of this as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'd mentioned that in the on the 45s. I don't want to get too mixed up looking at it. Sam Emerson, George Hurrell, Larry Vigone. So maybe Beard is part of this one. But yeah, some of the inside photography is by Sam Emerson. But anyway, so that's the American release. This also happens to be a promotional release. So this one has a promo only white label, which is really unique for an album. Also something off of Asylum Records. Usually it would just be their same kind of blue and yellow color with promotional only, so it's neat to see a white label like that. So that's the American copy that I have. I don't have a regular American copy. I just have the American copy that's a promotional white label of Law and Order. And it does say so on the back here as well. Next up we have the issue from Canada. So everything's virtually the same inside out. The only difference is the little maple leaf up here. And then for Canada, we have what I was just discussing, that kind of blue and yellow label. This is a standard version, not a promo. So just the Canadian version of Law and Order. Next up we have from England. This one is much shinier, the cover, if you can tell. And this one, yeah, go. Same thing. Very shiny. And the label on this one is just slightly different. And last but not least, for Lindsay, we have from Japan. Lucky enough to have an issue from Japan for this, complete with its obi strip, in pretty decent shape other than this. As we all know how much I love that. Wherever I purchased it from, decided to put the sticker on the album. Drives me nuts. It's okay. But yeah, it's nice to have that. And then on the inside, really not much difference. Just the, instead of the, in fact, it's not a gatefold. So instead of the gatefold, you have the imagery kind of on there, but like in that, what do you call that? I forgot the name, but anyway, where it's in the background with all the typeface over it. It's pretty cool. And then on the other side, you have the lyrics in English. And the label, similar to that of the UK, but there's some small nuances here that are different. Pardon me. A little bug in my throat. Took the dog out just before I made this video, and we're in complete full-on allergy season, and you open the door and it looks like it's snowing outside. It's really nice weather. There's slight breeze, but there's just all this white fluff in the air, and so I think that's making my throat scratchy. Next up, we have Mick Fleetwood's solo venture for 1981, The Visitor. Real nice album artwork. Very simple. Mick was very smitten with the music of Africa, and as a percussionist, as a drummer, and a very logical place to go to seek out more ethnic isn't the word I was going for, but for lack of the word I can't come up with, sounding drums and different stylization for music. And I love ethnic music. I love Arabic music, and I love drumming and tribal sounds and such like that. Japanese drums and stuff. I think that's Kodo drummers. So this is a really neat album. This has a very unique sound to it. And it's George Hawkins, who I can't remember where he's from. But he is, I just call him a session player, but I know he's more than that. George Hawkins and Todd Sharp, but I acquaint them most with working with Christine on her 1984 album. Again, they're bigger than that, and they've done more than that, but that's where I became and am most familiar with them at. So that was them working with Mick. Mick just did all the drum work. This is a pretty nice spread for Mick Fleetwood's album. I mean, RCA, who I'm pretty sure is who did this, really took a chance on Mick, to be perfectly honest. Though Fleetwood Mac was at their peak, everybody's funding. I mean, everybody, I'm confident, knew that Stevie was going to be a hit, suspected that Lindsay would be a hit, but I don't know about this one. I don't know that they really went forward thinking, and it wasn't, sadly enough, but it was. I'm just very glad Mick was able to do this. Mick can do what he wants to do with his money, and he could have made it anyway, with his own money, whether the label backed him or not. But I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that he had this experience, got to work with all these amazing people. Like I said, the sound that came off it was really unique, and I definitely think if you're a multifaceted, that's the right way to say it, fan of Fleetwood Mac, and want to hear just all of their work and just what makes them all who they are, not just what you know of as Rumors and Mirage and everything like that. It's definitely worth giving everybody's solo work a listen. So, and I include this one. I prefer this one versus I'm Not Me, I think, just for what he was going for on this one. And this was the insert for it. Like I said, also just really nice packaging as well. Have I listened to it that much? Absolutely not. But still, like I said, if I were to go for a Mick record, this is the one I'd head for. They do a version of Walk a Thin Line, Lindsay's song. And Rattlesnake Shake is on here, and The Visitor, Not Fade Away, You Weren't in Love. It's a nice album. It's short, but very much worth a listen. This is a really nice copy of it too. Just the USA version. So there's that. Also in 1981, as we well know, I don't think I brought this up with the 45s, but possibly with the CDs, which I think you'll see the CDs probably after you will the LPs, but heavy metal would be next in the repertoire of 81, mostly because, as we well know, Stevie Nicks' song Blue Lamp was meant to be on Bella Donna, but it instead went on the heavy metal soundtrack. Again, if you want to talk soundtracks, greatest ever, this might be my number one. This is a freaking great album from start to finish. It's great when you're driving to it. It's great when you're just doing housework. It's just a good listen. And funny enough, I'm not really more on the heavier sound of rock, and I don't. Even though a lot of these artists might be considered more harder rock, I don't think they are. Um, just the sound is louder, like rock music. I'm more an alternative. After Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac, I'm really into like new wave '80s alternative. But my God, this album, you can't stop listening to it. It's a great album, and I love the movie. Love this character. Love Stevie's placement, her music in the which was this story here, I think. Her placement in the movie was pretty funny. The movie is great too. Really stands out in my mind. Just so 80s, and it was kind of naughty a little bit. So when I first saw it on HBO, my parents didn't know. I'm like, it's a cartoon. Like what? It's a little bit more than that. But yeah. So great album, great soundtrack, and Blue Lamp. What a fabulous, fabulous song. I can't imagine it on. It's so much a part of this album that I can't picture it on Bella Donna, to be perfectly honest with you. It would have been great. And, then we also we're going to have Julia on Bella Donna, which I'll talk about more on the Bella Donna part of the video. But Blue Lamp was meant to be. There's a reason for everything, and its addition on this soundtrack amidst all these other songs is just where it's supposed to be. So there's that. Really nothing on the inside other than her little mention, just in the credits and such. So, and this is the record itself. This was reissued, I'm not sure what year. I think 20... Of course, there's no date on here. I didn't open it, but it got reissued. 2021. October 2021. It got reissued by Rocktober Rhino on red vinyl. And I purchased it, and I did not open it. I just got it to keep it. Funny story about that one. That is technically my boyfriend's record. But whatever is his is mine, and whatever is mine is mine, right? We all know that rule. So I took his records and, I put them all within my record collection. Of course they're his, but I put them all, But things like this go with my Stevie collection. So this is ahead of all the Bella Donnas, as are all those other records, if they're in the right order. And I put them in there, and I put his in there. And he went looking for it one time under H, and he couldn't find it. And I said, well, no, that goes with Stevie Nicks' records in 1981, and he about lost it. He loves to give me so much crap about it. And he's like, that's my record. That belongs to me. You put that H where it should be. You go out and get your own copy. And I'm like, no, I don't have a copy. Yours is my copy now. It goes with, And so actually it's kind of funny. On the record it says, I put like stuff on there, and this one says Bills. He made his own label for it, so that belongs to him. So in 2021, it was just blind luck that this one came out. And so this one is where I want it, in the 1981 section. But guess where that one is? When he's not looking or doesn't pull a record for a while, I just slip it right back into the 1981 section. So it's kind of funny. And then we have Louise Goffin, and I can't think of her parents. It's Carole King, I think, and can't think of her dad's name. I apologize, I'm not a fan of either. I think it's Carole King, right? I never got into King, Joni Mitchell. It's nothing personal. I do not care. I've actually heard that she's an amazing person. And I bet she is. But this album and the sound of her voice, I think it's just kind of a Nepo album. Mom and Dad are famous, and I'm gonna, it's the 80s and everybody's doing it. The Zappa kids are doing it, so I want to do it. And that might be kind of unfair, but sorry. Not sorry. I just don't especially care for it. Her version of If You Ever Did Believe, I mean, it has its points, its moments. Like I said, I just don't care so much for her voice. This is a nice promo only copy. What I do dig, of course, is the fact that again Sharon and Stevie are singing background with her, which helps it a bit, which kind of keeps it Louise covering it, which had to have been awesome. I'd love to know how she came to be that it was given to her to record. Um, and where Stevie, do Stevie and Sharon still stay in touch? Did Stevie say, well, it's my song, so hey, I'll come in and throw some vocals on? I mean, were they friends? Were they, just would be kind of interesting to know. um, she has some later work that I actually really really dug. Don't ask me the name of it, but when it comes to my photos, there's a whole little photo session thing I have about her and such like that. And she was promoting an album that came out, and I want to say '96 or somewhere around there. That it changed drastically. It was just a little bit more sounded like her, and also sounded like her mom a little bit more on the kind of folk side. But this just yeah, this is just didn't do it for me much. And so 80s. It's so weird 80s. And I'm the first one to love the 80s. So, but yeah. So this is the insert here. Just that it's written by Stevie, the lyrics, and Stevie and Sharon singing background vocals. And I believe I looked this over, and that's all they contribute to. And Waddy is on here as well, but I think only for that song, if I'm not mistaken. So that was that. Much like the 45s, I had, I think it was Insider. I think I had a 45 about that. So in 81 as well, we had Tom Petty's Hard Promises come out. And again, I think this came out just before or just after Stevie's Bella Donna. And what I always forget about on this album is that, of course, it's most known for Stevie singing with him on Insider, but also Stevie and Sharon sing background vocals on Night Watchman, and I always forget about that. So I had to give that a spin today, and a little memory kick, which was really nice. Real nice to listen to that. The insert here doesn't show anything with both of them, but it's kind of cool if you're into Tom Petty. Nice little poster thing, lyrics, and then the sleeve itself with the record. Would have been cool if there had been a shot of them together, but this is a great shot of Tom. And then here you can see I think it's here, yeah. They're mentioned here, singing on background. So, we're going to wrap this up real quick here. I'm going to show you the two singles that were available as promotional items for Bella Donna, because the pile of Bella Donna records I have is pretty thick. So this will just help keep that video a little bit shorter. The first one we're going to start off with was the 12-inch promotional for Stop Dragging My Heart Around. And the beauty of this is brilliant. It's just, there's no wording. It's just like a mini little poster right there. We call this the airplane pose. There actually is a promotional poster that came out, a couple actually. One that was a United States one, and then one I found recently, did not acquire it unfortunately, but a really unique UK one that was also the same picture, but just the writing, everything around it. Really, really, a really beautiful poster. But yeah, this was a 12-inch promo to, help promote the album. And again, the record is just a, here's the record. It is just the regular version of it, that you play at 33 1/3, which is unusual. And it's just the same front and back. After that, we have the Edge of 17 promotional 12-inch. Again, gorgeous. Great artwork. Both pictures, obviously, by Herbert Worthington. And this one has, this one has the long and the short version. So one side is 8 minutes and 7 seconds, the other is 5 minutes and 57 seconds. So considerable difference on this one. But promo only. So let's see here. The 8 minute and 7 second one is the previously unreleased live version. So much like the 45, but I still think they condense it on the 45. And then side 2 is also previously unreleased live version, but condensed. So actually this kind of isn't a promo for Bella Donna in the sense that both of these versions are the live version, which is an interesting observation I'm making. Again, things that I probably knew, but it's been years since I don't get to talk to anybody about this stuff, so that's why I'm doing the videos. But I thought, because on the 45, one is the album version from Bella Donna, and then the other side was the live version from the tour. So being as these are both front and back, the live version, and the live version does not appear on the album, this kind of makes this one stick out on its own as just like an additional B-side, if you will. Because although, of course, we have Edge of 17 on Bella Donna, we don't have a live. So technically this one is kind of a standalone, if you think about it like that. So those are your lead-ins to Bella Donna, and if you're a fan of Bella Donna, I highly encourage you to come back for part 2 of 1981 Bella Donna. Like I said, I have quite a few copies of that, and so come back. Thank you for joining me, and everybody have a great night. Until next time, bye.